All right, guys. Oops, sorry, I'm not on the first slide. So far we've talked about what is the course? Oh yeah. Why does this keep updating? Sorry. What is the course? What is data science? And now we're talking about our programming language, Pyret. As I told you previously, Pyret is a variation of Scheme that uses Python-like syntax. I know that means nothing to you. So we're gonna go ahead and open what I'm gonna call starter files. I might give it a different name, but I like starter file. I think it's a solid name to explain it. And this is what Pyret looks like, okay? So one of the first things you'll see is you need to click connect to Google. So up here I've connected Google. There you go. And whenever you do that, that's signing in with Pyret. If it's a starter file, you'll need to save a copy, give it a name. So this is animal spreadsheet starter. Okay, and it just saves it onto your Google Drive. So if I go to my programs, you'll see I have a lot more than you, obviously, but it just saves them into your Google Drive. I can view them on Google Drive. Oh. Sorry, this is my home computer, and they're just files in your Google Drive. So as long as you're signed into Google, you'll be able to access your files. So I'm going to go line by line and just read this document with you, and we'll try to understand what it means, okay? So we have two windows here, okay? We have our definitions window, which is where Pyret is taught the code, and we have our execution window over here. If I hit run, you'll see it run, and it's running. So it's reading all this code, and it's doing it. Now, nothing happened as far as you can tell, but I know many things happen. Let me just see if it gives you the instructions here. It does. So on this right side, I'm going to type animals table, and you're going to see my whole spreadsheet that I showed, that you guys saw earlier, is now in Pyret. So let's go ahead and continue to go through this document, okay? So first of all, I typed this code, animals table, this definition. So on the left somewhere, it's going to tell me what animal definition is. Animals table, what the definition of it is. And I can see here that animals table equals, and it's going to load table, and it's going to load a table with a name column, a species column, a sex column, an age, fixed, legs, pounds, weeks, which are all over here. And source, where is it going to get this? Well, I have shelter-sheet.sheet name pets. But what is shelter sheet? So I need to go a little bit higher, and I can see that shelter sheet loads the spreadsheet, and it's going to load the Google Doc I showed you the other day. The other video. So this line here, shelter sheet, loads our spreadsheet from Google. Okay? Now, as you can see, I can resize these two things, but notice that the line number doesn't change when I bring it over. It'll return it over, but it still stays the same line, so it's consistent. Okay? It depends what I'm working with, so you're going to go back and forth as well with this, okay? So, on the first, actually, let's go through the whole thing. So, on the first line, you'll see use, context, shared, given, G drive, and you'll see bootstrap data science 2.1.arr. If you see .arr, it is a Pyret file. Get it? Pirates go R because they have a hook hand. I don't know. Basically, this is loading all of our commands for us, all of our basic commands. For the most part, we will always use this one. Sometimes we might... Where did they put it? So I can change my context. You're not going to do that unless I tell you to specifically, okay? So don't worry about that. But this just loads all of our pre-made commands. Okay. On line 3, and I'm just clicking back and forth, guys. This was the old lecture version. This way I don't forget anything. I'm just making sure I don't skip something that'll be on a worksheet or your test. So line 3 again, it's shelter sheet. Shelter sheet is going to load the spreadsheet. And we're going to give it that unique Google identifier, and it's going to load it. So we're going to load images and other things from Google too. You'll learn more about that later. Okay, so now Pyret knows something called shelter sheet. Now let me run this here so it's blank. I could try to call it, but you'll see that it's a spreadsheet and it has a pets page and a readme page. Good, that's good information to know. Then on line 7, we load the animals table, and again, we give it its columns. And we're going to take shelter sheet and sheets by name, and we're going to tell it I want to go by pets, so the pet sheet, and true just says to load it. Okay, so I'm going to go animals table, and it loads the whole table. So again, on the left we teach Pyret, on the right we call. That's probably the best way I can explain this to you. Okay, so line 14 here then, what do you think how could I call this? Well, what did I define it as? I defined it as cat row. So I'm going to type cat row. And you're going to see that it's going to give me row 0. We'll talk about that later, which is Sasha. So I know the name is Sasha, species cat, sex female. Name Sasha, species cat, sex female. So it's just giving me this row here. Now, what did I tell it to do? I told it to take a row from the animals table, and I told it to give me row 0. Computers count from 0. It has to do with binary. So this is row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So something else that we saw. So again, this is why you'll see me always flip back to the spreadsheet the PowerPoint even when we're coding, just to make sure I don't forget to tell you things, because there's a lot. So you see on line 2 and 6, we have these pound signs. These are used for comments. You'll see them here and here. So anywhere there's a pound sign is a comment. A comment is a conversation between two programmers. The computer doesn't run it at all. It's there to make your code more readable. You will write a lot of comments in this class. Comments are going to be part of your style grade, which you'll be graded on. Okay. Every table is made of cells, which are arranged in a grid of rows and columns. So we have rows and we have columns. Okay. The first row and first column are special in Pyret because the first row is our titles, which we have to specifically define here. Okay. Oops. The first column in the table is the identifier column, which contains a unique ID for each row. Often this will be the name of each individual table or an ID number. So in our case, we have name. You can see, where was it? Load table, spreadsheet by name, pets, and true. Okay. Now, what was I saying about that? So basically, each of these names are giving a row number. So in this case, we have row 0. Our dog row is row 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I call it dog row now. Can't type right now. You'll see that it's toggle, who I said was row 10 earlier. Okay. So here's an example of a table with one header row and two table rows. So we have our header row and two table rows, which happen to be, I think this is row 0 and row 1. Okay, in our main table. So what is being used as an identifier column in this data set? Okay. How many variables are listed in the header row for the animal data set? What are they called? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8, and they're called name, species, sex, age, fixed, legs, pounds, week. Try changing the name of one of the columns and click run. What happens when you look at the table? Okay, so we're going to go into our table, and here's our table. I'm going to change the name of one of them. So instead of name, I'm going to go Bobo. Now if I run it, animals table, we'll see that name is now Bobo. We have to manually give these titles. Okay? We have to manually give these titles in Pyret. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.